Hello and welcome to another episode of today's GK. I am Pooja Divedi, and in this segment we bring to you questions on a daily basis which will help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of last segment. Consider the following statements about the payback scheme. Under the scheme, borrowers will be provided ex gratia payment of difference between compound interest and simple interest for the period from March 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2020. Second, all borrowers are eligible for this scheme. Which of the statements given above are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is A, that is 1 only. Only the first statement is correct. Let's move on to the explanation. Recently, in the industry and businesses have complained to the Supreme Court against the centre that the government's decision to restrict its payback scheme to small borrowers is arbitrary in nature. And as per latest guidelines issued by the Finance Minister, difference between the simple interest and the compound interest for a period of 6 months, remember this, for a period of 6 months, will be provided to all borrowers with loans up to rupees 2 crore. Then it also says that the ex gratia payment under the scheme will be admissible despite of the fact that the borrowers had fully availed or partially availed or not availed the moratorium on repayment. However, whose aggregate of all facilities with lending institutions is more than rupees 2 crore sanction limit or outstanding amounts, then they will not be eligible for any sort of waiver. Alright, so now let's move on to the first question for today's GK. Consider the following pairs. Name of tropical cyclones and region, typhoons as they are known in the Indian Ocean, hurricanes in North Atlantic, cyclones in Eastern Pacific. Which of the above pairs are correctly matched? A1 only, B2 only, C 2 and 3 only, D1, 2 and 3. I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is B, that is 2 only. Only the second pair is correctly matched, that is hurricanes North Atlantic. It is known as North Atlantic. It is known as hurricanes in the North Atlantic. So cyclones, what are cyclones? These are a rapid inward air circulation around a low pressure area, and the air circulates in an anti-clockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. And they are usually accompanied by violent storms as well as bad weather. If we talk about the types of cyclones, there are two. First is the tropical cyclone, second is the extratropical cyclones. Now, tropical cyclones, if we talk about, they develop between the regions of Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. And if we talk about temperate cyclones, these occur in temperate zones and high latitude areas, but they are known to originate in the polar region. Keep this in mind. They originate in the polar region, but they occur in temperate and high latitude areas. So if we talk about the name of tropical cyclones, they are named differently in different regions. Hurricanes in the North Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, then typhoons in Southeast Asia and China, and tropical cyclones in Southwest Pacific area as well as the Indian Ocean. Right? Now let's move on to our next question, which says, the Brundtland Commission is associated with A. Sustainable Development, B. IMF reforms, C. UNICEF, or D. Human rights. I hope you know the answer for this. The correct answer for this question is A, that is Sustainable Development. Now, the most widely accepted and agreed to definition of sustainable development was given by the Brundtland Commission in its report of Our Common Future in the year 1987. Now, sustainable development, what does it mean? Sustainable development means development which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. And three core elements of sustainable development are economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection. It is crucial to harmonize all these elements. Now, if we talk about sustainable development, what is the need for them? Three needs. First, we have scarcity of resources, which is causing more climate change because of its overexploitation. So scarcity of resources, we are overexploiting these, and that is causing climate change. If we talk about scarcity, then nearly 2/3 of the world's population will live in water scarce region by 2025. And also, then we need to double our food production in the next 40 years, where almost 23% of the agricultural land has already degraded. If we talk about overexploitation, 1 million species are on track for extinction, and the decline of more than 60% of the world's marine fisheries is already there. Now, if we talk about climate change in the sense that increase in atmospheric pressure is going on, atmospheric temperature is going on, and extreme weather events are occurring due to that. It is also causing rising of the sea level, which is a threat to small island nations due to the climate change. Because sea level is rising, the small island states are drowning. So, moving on to our next question, which tells you which of the following powers are envisaged in the Supreme Court as a court of record. The Supreme Court judgments are recognized as legal precedents and legal references. Power to punish for contempt of court. Select the correct answer using code given below. A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is C. That is both 1 and 2. Let's move on to the explanation. As a court of record, the Supreme Court has two powers. What are these? First, the judgments, proceedings and acts of the Supreme Court are recorded for perpetual memory and testimony, and these records are admitted of providing evidentiary value, and they cannot be questioned when produced as an evidence. They are recognized as legal precedents and legal references. And if we talk about the power to punish for contempt of court, then the court has this power just by providing simple imprisonment for 6 months or fine up to 2,000 rupees or both. Alright, now moving on to the next question. Which of the following parts of the Constitution deals with official language? A. Part 15, B. Part 16, C. Part 17, or D. Part 9. Now this may be a one-liner question, but it is important from the perspective of state PCS as well. In the explanation segment, you will get much more information about it. I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is C. That is Part 17. Moving on to the explanation. Part 17 of the Indian Constitution deals with the official languages from Article 343 to 351. Now, if we talk about Article 350A, it provides that it shall be the endeavor of every state and also the local authorities to make sure that within the state, of course, to make sure that they provide adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at primary stage of education to linguistic minorities, right? According to Article 350A. Please keep this in mind. Then Article 350B, the President should appoint a special officer for linguistic minorities to investigate in all the matters relating to the constitutional safeguards provided to them. And with the help of Article 351, the Article 351 provides that it shall be the duty of the Union to promote the use of Hindi language. So it's provided for in the Constitution. Okay, moving on. Let's look at our next question, which says, which of the following countries are associated with the North-South Transport Corridor? India, Russia, Iran, Iraq. I hope you have thought through. Let's look at the codes. Select the correct answer using code given below. A1 and 2 only, B2 and 3 only, C1, 2 and 3 only, or D1, 3 and 4 only. Look at the options once more, please. India, Russia, Iran, Iraq, North-South Transport Corridor. The correct answer for this question will be C, that is 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. These countries are a part, while Iraq is not a part of it. Let's talk about the explanation. So the International North-South Transport Corridor, it is a multimodal connectivity project to establish transport networks via ship, rail, and road for moving freight between India, Russia, Iran, Europe, and Central Asia. Now, this would enhance accessibility to the landlocked Central Asian regions for India, and it links Indian Ocean and Pacific Gulf to the Caspian Sea via Iran and then towards Northern Europe via St. Petersburg in Russia. Alright. Also, the route primarily involves moving freight from India, Iran, Azerbaijan and Russia via ship, rail and road. We already talked about it. And the objective of the corridor is to increase trade connectivity, including big cities such as Mumbai, Moscow, Tehran, Baku. Then you have Bandar Abbas, then Astrakhan and Bandar Anzali. These are the major cities where trade is blooming. Now let's move on to the next question, which tells you to consider the following statements with reference to edge computing. It enables data to be analyzed, processed and transferred at the edge of a network. Second, the data is analyzed locally closer to where it is stored in real time without latency. Third, it allows for quicker data processing and content delivery. Think faster. Let's move on to the options. Which of the statements given above are correct? A1 only, B3 only, C 2 and 3 only, or D 1, 2 and 3? Let's move on to the statements once more. Now, I hope you'll be able to answer it correctly. The correct answer for this question is D, that is 1, 2 and 3. Let's move on to the explanation. All these statements are correct. Let's move on to the explanation. Edge computing enables data to be analyzed, processed and transferred at the edge of a network. And the data is analyzed locally closer to where it is stored in real time without any sort of latency rather than send it far away to centralized data system. And it allows for quicker data processing and content delivery, of course, without latency. This will happen. Now, let's look at our next question, which says, the term zombie firms frequently seen in the news is related to. Now, you will be able to answer it correctly if you know what does the word zombie mean. A. Firms which are not able to cover their debt servicing costs with current earnings. Second says, firms supported by the government without taxing on its profits. Third, firms which earn sufficient profit to finance their debts. Then fourth, firms create more employment opportunities. Zombie firms. I hope you all know what a zombie is. The correct answer for this question is A, that is firms which are not able to cover their debt servicing costs with current earning. Now, recently, former Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian said that India had moved from socialism with limited entry to capitalism without any sort of exit. Now, capitalism without exit is known as a zombie land, which is full of companies which are neither dead nor alive. And in the financial world, companies on life support are known as zombies. So, those firms which are not even able to cover their debt servicing costs through their current earnings are known as zombie companies. Let's move on to the next question, which tells you to select which of the pairs given below are correctly matched. First, Kabartal Lake, Kerala. Keetham Lake in Uttar Pradesh. Asan Conservation Reserve in Uttarakhand. Now you have to select the correct answer using codes given below. A, 1 and 2 only, B, 3 only, C, 2 and 3 only, or D, 1, 2 and 3. We did cover some of these lakes and conservation reserves in our previous segments as well, so I hope you will be able to answer it correctly. The correct answer for this question is C, that is 2 and 3 only. Only these two pairs are correctly matched. Let's move on to the explanation. Now, the Sur Sarovar, which is also known as Keetham Lake, is in Agra, Uttar Pradesh. Beg your pardon, Agra, Uttar Pradesh. It has been added to the list of recognized Ramsar sites. Right? Then comes Kabartal, it is in Bihar's Begusarai district and has been recognized as a wetland and of international importance. It is the first such wetland in the state under Ramsar Convention, and the Asal Conservation Reserve is in the state of Dehradun, and it is the first wetland from the state to be recognized by Ramsar Convention. It was also added to the list of importance. Let's move on to the next question, which says, consider the following statements with reference to Kusum scheme. First, solar power plants can be installed on pasture land and marshy land of farmers. Second, solar projects smaller than 500 kilowatt may be allowed by states based on techno-commercial feasibility. Which of the statements given above are correct? A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. Now I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is C, that is both 1 and 2. Let's move on to the explanation. Now, the Renewable Energy Minister has expanded the scope of the PM Kusum scheme to enable greater solar energy generation in the farm sector. So, now besides barren, fallow and agricultural lands, solar power plants can be installed on pasture land and marshy land of the farmers to support small farmers. Solar projects smaller than 500 kilowatt may be allowed by the states based on techno-commercial feasibility, because feasibility also has to be checked. If we talk about the scheme, now it consists of 3 components. The first is 10,000 megawatt of decentralized, keep this in mind, decentralized ground-mounted grid connected renewable power plants up to 2 megawatt, right? Then installation of 20 lakh stand-alone solar pumps, solar-powered agriculture pumps basically, which is up from 17.50 lakh. And the third component is the solarization of 15 lakh pumps, grid-connected solar-powered agricultural pumps. This is also up from 10 lakh. Now look at the next question. Consider the following statements with reference to intellectual property cooperation. First, recently India and the US have signed an MOU or Memorandum of Understanding on intellectual property cooperation. Second, it will facilitate exchange and dissemination of best practices, experiences and knowledge on IP. Now you have to tell which of the statements given above are correct. A1 only, B2 only, C both 1 and 2, D neither 1 nor 2. I hope you have answered it correctly. The correct answer for this question is C, that is both of these statements are correct. Now let's move on to the explanation. India and the US have signed Memorandum of Understanding on Intellectual Property Cooperation for Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry have signed this Memorandum of Understanding with the US Patent and Trade Office, Department of Commerce of the US. Okay, and this aims to increase IP cooperation between the two countries in the sense that it will facilitate exchange and dissemination of best practices, experience and knowledge on IP among the public and between industry, universities, research and development organizations and small and medium-sized enterprises as well, right? Now let's look at the practice question for our next segment. Consider the following statements with reference to genetically modified crops. First, in India, the Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee is the apex body that allows for commercial release of GM crops. Second, BT cotton and BT paddy are the only GM crops that are allowed in India. Third, use of the unapproved GM variant can attract a jail term of 5 years under the Environmental Protection Act of 1986? Kindly look at these statements. Now, which of the statements given above is are correct? A. 1 and 2 only, B. 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3. I'm moving back to the question so that you can see the statements once more. Now, I hope you will be able to answer it correctly. That's it for today. Tomorrow I am going to turn up with another segment. Till then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.